Well, good evening, good morning, good night. I'm Ryan. This is 780 Speed and Custom. And today, obviously, back on the Biscayne. I apologize for the lack of content lately, but been working on the road and probably be back on the road here shortly. It's that time of year, so needless to say though, I am still working on it. Things are still rolling forward, just a little bit slower than I would like. Today, I'm going to mount up my throttle cable, mount up my throttle pedal, maybe start on the engine harness, and just some little odds and ends. It's the little stuff that really bogs you down on a project like this, so I'm going to try and bang some of that stuff out today. Work my way towards being kind of done on the exterior anyway. So we'll see how far I get, but stick around and we'll see how much we can get done today. So one more little thing that I needed to work on, or have to work on, or issue with this intake throttle body setup is this intake doesn't actually have anywhere to mount a throttle cable to. I'm assuming it's designed to be used with drive-by-wire, not drive-by-cable. I hate drive-by-wire, so I've got to modify this just a little bit more so I can use a drive-by-cable. So this is the cable I bought. It's just a universal deal, and it's designed to mount through a plate. So a little more CAD design. If I come over here, cut this piece of cardboard out, transferred it to some aluminum, and how this is going to work is basically I'll just tack that onto the intake like that. My cable will run through there, try and get a little straight, and it'll hold that nice and solid. So another thing to consider, if you're thinking about buying one of these aluminum intakes, if you're running drive-by cable, you're going to have to do something like this in order to hold that cable solid to the intake. Well, I'm not real proud of those welds, but they will hold, and it is going to do its intended purpose. So I'll get this intake mounted back up and test fit that cable. And there you go. So drive-by cable is now on. Obviously I just got to drill a hole in the firewall, mount my pedal and hook up the other end, but that side of it's done. As I stated, I'm not happy with the welds, but hey, it'll work. That's all that matters. So done and done. So this is the pedal assembly I've bought. It's Summit Racing, just a El Cheapo universal deal. You can kind of change the angle on this bracket via set screw back here to adjust it as necessary, and then normally this would just bolt to your firewall. But I'm going to have to build some bracketry to kind of pull this out from the firewall because I don't want it directly on the firewall, and I'll show you why. So underneath the dash here, you can see these two pegs in the floor. That's where the original pedal mounted. And I believe that's where the cable came through. So I was thinking I'd just build a bracket off of that, come out so that I could space this somewhere out here, kind of in line with the brake pedal. Otherwise, if I mount this right on the firewall, it's going to be significantly further back, and you'll have to lift your leg really far from the gas to the brake. So I'd rather not do that. I'd rather have this out here somewhere. So I'll try and figure out some kind of bracketry, and I can drill a hole in the firewall to run the cable through, and we should be good to go. Okay, so this is the bracket that I've kind of come up with. Basically, this mounts, this back plate here, cut it with a plasma, mounts to the two holes in the firewall, and then my pedal will bolt through those two holes, obviously, so it kind of drops it over and down. and kind of gets the pedal where I want it to be. So paint it black and then bolt it up in the car and show you what it looks like. And there's the finished product. So bracket I built just goes through the original hole, just moves this pedal forward so it's kind of on an even playing field with the pedal here, and then obviously my universal cable just pulls through the firewall there. I still have to make a throttle stop because full throttle is like right there. That's where she stops, but obviously we're not touching the floor yet, so just a good idea to put a throttle stop there so you don't wreck the cable or your throttle body. So I will do that, but that completes the throttle side of things anyway. So my brakes are good, throttle's good, fuel system's good, drivetrain's in, just need the drive shaft and exhaust and a bit of wiring. This thing might be able to fire up. Well, I have gone ahead and done a little bit of work as far as the engine harness goes. I wasn't really sure how I was going to lay things out, where things are going to route, all that kind of stuff. So I just kind of went ahead and started laying things out on the engine and coming up with a game plan. So I didn't film that, I apologize, but wasn't much to see anyway. So I'll show you where I'm at here. So that's got the harness basically laid out. Everything's connected on the engine except for the power to my harness. O2s because I still don't have an exhaust, and I just got to click the crank signal in. But this is the remainder of my harness, ECU, fuse box, and a few sensors, whatnot for gauges, senders, wires, whatever. I think I'm going to mount that on the inner fender. I'm not real sure yet. This is the OG harness from my first LS swap in the 40. So it's that PSI conversions harness. Not a bad aftermarket kind of, DIY standalone harness, but not cheap either. So obviously that's why I kept it, and we're going to reuse it on this project. But yeah, I won't really know where I'm going to mount that stuff until the inner fender's in, and I don't want to put the inner fender in until I know what I'm doing on the firewall, and I really won't know what I'm doing on the firewall until I order the AC parts, and I really don't know how the whole front of the engine here, accessory drive, is going to work until I get my AC compressor and bracketry. So I'm kind of at a standstill on this side here. I've got some more parts on order, so I'm probably going to have to pick this up when things arrive. Well, it's a new day here, and my hope for today is that I can kind of get the intake finished up, piping, filter, that kind of stuff, and radiator hoses. I want to tackle that. I've got some aluminum pipe. I'm probably going to have to make some custom bends to get everything connected, just because it's so awkward and there's so much stuff to go around. But I'll kind of show you what I'm thinking, where I'm at, and we can go from there. Bought this Spectre boot. It's actually a 4-inch, which is too small for this throttle body, 4 1/4. So one trick, you can actually just kind of heat this silicone up. It'll stretch over nicely, and then when it cools down, it's going to fit perfectly, so that'll work. I did get an intake pipe and a filter. I cut this down 3 inches just because I think I'm going to have to route it something like that, which is not going to give us great airflow, but at least it has room for the battery in the factory location there, and I think I can make that work as far as my radiator hoses go. I've got a couple of chunks here, this one kind of over top like that, and then I've got this here, so I'll get a 90 there, and I'm thinking I'll just connect these two with a piece of aluminum over top of this intake pipe. Because I really don't have any other options. I can't go the other way because then it blocks the radiator inlet. So my hand is kind of forced there. But I think that'll look all right. I'm going to, I'll have to drill and tap a spot in this intake for intake air temperature sensor. I'm just going to use the same style one that's on my blower on the 40. Keep things the same, that way I don't have to carry extra parts. But yeah, I think that'll work. So I'll button this down and I'll start figuring out what I'm going to have to make for bends and pie cuts and whatnot to get some aluminum tube to connect these two pieces of pipe like that. Perfect. Here's my intake air temp sensor. Well, the more I look at this, the more I don't want to go over top of the intake. I'm thinking if I come out here, I can go aluminum tube 180, maybe 45 down a bit, and come directly under the intake here, and then 45 over up and in here. It's a lot more welding, a lot more work, but it would certainly look cleaner. Decisions. So I started hacksawing some pie cuts out of here because that's the best option I have. And I think I'm going to go under the intake. So looks like it takes about 6 pie cuts to make a 90. Got to make 3 of those, 4, maybe 4. And I can get to welding all this together, kind of figure out lengths and stuff. And hopefully I can get it so that we can 180 down, under, over, and up. So we shall see. Well, this is my first ever pie cut, so obviously don't judge too harshly. It's just tacked there for now. So that's the first 90, so this will come out of the radiator. 90 towards the intake. I'll have to go down, over, up, 180. But yeah, that's the start of it anyway. So I'll make a bunch more pie cuts, kind of tack everything together, make sure it's going to work, and then I will spend a lot of time welding all this together. Well, this is what I've come up with so far. Out, 90, 45, so come straight over, probably 45 up, out, and then 180 or 45 flat, and then 180 probably look a little better. Something like that. I do got to be careful not to get too tight here because my AC compressor is going to go there. Release the bracketry and then compressor here. So just keep that high enough. Should be all right. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Well, I've been at it most of the day, way too many hours, and this is what I've come up with so far. still need to pressure test it. But that's the basic shape I was looking for. I'll just quickly throw it in the car to show you what it looks like, how things ended up. Should work for me. Like I said, I got a few pinholes for sure that I need to touch up. I'm happy with the way it turned out, but yeah, I'm done TIG welding for a little bit anyway. So yeah, I'll get this put in the car here and show you how it looks, but we can go from there. So yeah, there's just roughly in the car. That's the routing I ended up going with. Just didn't want it to go over top of that air filter. My welds look pretty bad, but it is the first time I've ever pie cut something. Once I get those few pinholes sorted out, it should work anyway. Then at least if a guy has an issue on the road, all I'm looking for is a couple of straight pieces of hose instead of some conglomeration of random bent hoses that who knows what vehicles are off of. So hopefully this will work out. I don't mind the way it looks. I'm not real happy with the welds, especially on that 180, but yeah, it is what it is. So there you have it. Upper rad hose is done and piping. Obviously I've got to repeat that process for the lower hose because it's also, some weird angle. I don't know why GM did that, but regardless, I'll get it sorted. But I feel like I've had enough for the day, and I feel like that's enough for this video. So if you stuck around this long, I appreciate you watching, sticking around the channel. I'm Ryan, this is 780 Speed and Custom, tuning out.